So we didn't quite finish up today, so I'll finish up the rest of these notes. Chromosomes we talked about are made up of DNA. Each one contains many genes. Now a gene is just a little piece of DNA that codes for one trait. So you have a gene that codes for whether or not you have a widow's peak, or if your earlobes are attached to the side of your head, or if your index fingers, if you put them side by side, if they curve or if they're straight. So each one of those is just a small section of DNA that codes for one trait. We talked about homologous pairs of chromosomes. So you have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Homologous pairs are similar. They look pretty much the same. They carry the same genes. They're not exactly the same. You got one pair from your mom and one pair from your dad. Now, if there's a gene that carries a chromosome that carries a gene for eye color, the homologous chromosome also carries that gene for eye color. But think about it, your mom and your dad don't look exactly the same, so their chromosomes, the ones that you inherited from them, are not exactly the same. So homologous chromosomes carry the same genes, but they're not identical. So we have 22 homologous pairs that pretty much look the same, carry the same genes. That 23rd pair is actually a little bit different because it's our two sex chromosomes. Now for us, we're all girls, we have two X chromosomes. They're going to look the same and carry the same genes. But for men, they have two different chromosomes. They have an X chromosome, which is nice and big, and then a really short little Y chromosome that carries different genes in the X chromosome, and it actually carries a lot fewer genes than the X chromosome. So on this next slide, we can see what's called a karyotype. And a karyotype is just a picture of a person's chromosomes. So this was made by taking a picture of a view of a nucleus under a microscope, and this is a nucleus that was getting ready to divide, and that's why we see, or it's actually already divided, that's why we see the actual chromosomes. Notice in that bottom right hand corner we have an X and a Y chromosome. So this individual would be male, and you can see just how much smaller that Y chromosome is than the X. We can not only tell the gender of a person, but we can also identify some genetic diseases. So here you can see that this person has inherited 3 of the 21st chromosomes. This person would actually have Down syndrome. So more of a chromosome, more information isn't necessarily a good thing. So just a little review of some of those terms. Chromosomes are made up of many genes, and genes are just a small DNA sequence that codes for a particular trait, actually does that by coding for a particular protein. Now, an allele are just alternate forms of a gene. So an example here, eye color gene has several different alleles, a blue allele, a brown allele, a green allele. So you will inherit 2 alleles. They may be the same alleles, so from your parents, maybe they both have brown eyes, everybody in your family has brown eyes, so you were likely to just have the brown allele on both pairs of those homologous chromosomes, but maybe your mom has blue eyes, your dad has brown eyes, you ended up with brown eyes, you probably have a blue allele and a brown allele. And that is it.